So everybody get ready, because around June 6th or 13th, that's when all this PTS phase will be done, and we should be seeing this new stuff roll out. And what new stuff are we talking about? Is the stuff that just hit the Trello board. So let's go over some of these, shall we, and see what we can decipher and see if it's actually good or not. So first on the board is going to be Descent. Now, again, this one here, I'm just going to kind of let y'all read some of this stuff over, because one, we don't know how Descent's actually going to play out. The reason I say it that way is because we've seen where we've had issues with stuff that first comes out, you know, new types of gameplay, things of that nature. And while they seem good and everything else, this is, again, a PTS phase. So if they were to fix Descent later on and it runs really smoothly, I'll definitely try to cover some of that. As for now, I'll just scroll this up so you guys can see everything that they're doing, and you can pause it right here and read it yourself. Now the next part of the Trello board was about SHD and XP gain. Now this right here looks interesting to me. Why? Because it's starting off with PTS Phase 2, they're going to be a new in place type XP way to earn. So they're talking about Descent levels. Okay, this is for Descent. So I was kind of excited, but then when I saw it said Descent, I was like, well, wait a minute, what the hell? And later on, I started reading some more stuff on the Trello, and they were talking about different ways for people who play PvP and stuff. So, again, these types of levels will be just for Descent and so on for people who aren't level 40, and people who are level 40, they get an SHD. But that also, the SHD will also be going to PvP players and stuff like that later. We'll get into that later on, which I know some PvP players are going to be extremely ecstatic to be seeing. So, I'm going to pause that right there, or at least I'll scroll it up so that way you guys can pause it and read everything about this XP stuff for Descent. Now, this next part I was reading, it's also part of Descent, but they're talking about stability crashes. So, the stability and improvement and other changes. Now, this, again, is only pertaining to Descent, which, again, I get that they're trying to do that kind of stuff for Descent, but are you going to guarantee that that's also going to happen for Countdown, for other gameplay, and things of that nature? You know, because that's a major issue that a lot of people are complaining about, is it's not just that we want stuff for Descent, we also want to have it for Countdown, missions, PvP, where we're not getting delted or kicked out, things like that of that nature. Are you going to be checking into this? Because again, all this stuff looks great. If you're only talking about Descent, then it's actually kind of shit. But again, let's scroll this up, let everybody take a look at it. Now, the best part is right here, starting. This is the rest of the Trello board, where it actually helps out every single player. Season 5, Year 5, Season 1, Broken Wings, all the talents and everything else. Now, before I scroll this up, I was a little bit disappointed when I realized that they're going to be putting the perfect companion on your chest piece and leaving it there. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be stuck there. Now, is that going to be a bonus? Yeah, because if you've got companion on your backpack and companion on your chest piece, and you're staying near your teammates with a healer, that just turns you into a walking glass cannon at that point, that you can just boost yourself off of each other's damage with a future healer, and you don't have to worry about Unbreakable because you're just glassing everything down. So will this change the PvP meta? We don't know. Will it change how the game is played? We don't know. So let's take a look at this. So as you see right here, Perfect Companion talent used for the name chest was not a mistake, and we intend on to keep it. So that's going to make some PvP encounters more interesting. That's also going to make some actual gameplay for regular PvE interesting, because you might be able to get Companion while having Perfect Companion out. So that would be pretty interesting. Let's go to the next. Now here they're talking about revamp the damage reduction from skills to damage reduction from all sources, so the charging talent won't affect. So that's basically talking about that one new gear set that's going to be coming out. So not too big on that, but interesting. Okay, cool. Let's go to the next. So again, they keep talking about that new gear set, which again, overcharge, safe charging, talent descriptions, defibrillary talents, the description, equipping, unequipping, or swapping items will no longer cause the talent to stop working. So again, they keep talking about this one new gear set. So it's kind of interesting that maybe this thing has been severely broken. And again, this leads a lot of questions, because if it was that broken beforehand, and I know this is PTS, how broken is it going to be when the game actually comes out? We don't know. We'll see. Let's keep going. And again, here they go. They keep talking about the Thunderstrike talent, recalibration library. Fix an issue with the Thunderstrike. The perfect version, amplifying damage from all sources, including skills, grenades, status effects, with dot or in any damage talents, toxic delivery. I mean, it basically looks like a bunch of stuff on here was causing too much damage. And again, agents in co-op when near other agents. So again, this is good that they're catching this stuff. But at the same time, I'm still kind of worried, because if this still comes into the game or something like this actually does affect, because again, this is PTS mainly just testing stuff that's they're bringing out, not with stuff that's already here. Could it affect the game and cause glitches, bugs, or other things? And that's to be found out later on. And again, this is a PTS. So let's go on to the next bit, shall we? Now, this next bit is all about the gear and weapons. The bad part is this is only pertaining mainly to the gear and weapons that we are going to be getting in the PTS or in Season 5. Nothing about any weapons we currently have or any kind of weapons that we might be experiencing or problems with those. It's all about the new stuff, which I'm glad that they're doing for the PTS, because this is all about the PTS phase notes. So, again, this is where it's going to be kind of just, I'm going to let it scroll up and you guys can read it on your own. Now, this one is the big one. This one is the one that matters the most to everybody, because this is quality of life improvements. This one actually matters to everybody and everything. This is PvE, PvP, raid, conflict. I mean, everything and anything that you want to use in this game. So, we're actually going to talk about this one as much as possible. So, here we go. So, here they're talking about PvP XP. So, we're talking about conflict rebalance. They added SHD XP progress, which is the same thing as that they have in Descent. The Living World activities also XP gains revamp. So basically, what we did for the convoys and stuff like that, those might be seeing a PvP or XP revamp kind of stuff, not just PvP. So again, this is where it's going to benefit everybody. So let's go on to the next. Now this one here kind of got me a little interested, because it says added a grants tab to make compensation progress more streamlined and items easy to obtain. Grants tab to be found in the store. So does this mean that we're going to be getting grants? Because if you saw earlier, they were talking about grants for like extra boxes, caches, things of that nature, so on. Added an option to allow players to change mission difficulty regardless of the world difficulty settings. Now, I thought that was already a thing, but maybe they're talking about Descent and other stuff. We'll see later on. Now, this one got me a little interested, because quick grenade selection menu. Again, D-pad for console, G for PC. So does this mean, and this is one question I have for the developers, people should be asking this question, are they actually going to be giving us any type of grenade? Or is this just, hey, I'm going to be able to select my grenade instantly and throw it like that? Because they have hinted that they were going to allow any type of grenade to be used by any kind of specialist in the past. So is that what that means, or is that still just going to be completely just to the wall? We're not sure yet. We're not even planning on doing that. And this is just, hey, let me just select a grenade and just tap it and throw a grenade. But again, we'll see later on. Now, these right here are kind of interesting, because they added apparel items as favorite, which we already have. But I don't know why it's been messing up. Maybe that's going to fix the backpack issue, but adding directive selections for raids. We did a raid here recently, and while we had directives, it was a kind of a pain. Some players didn't know what they were doing, but again, when we do raids, we're just out here trying to have fun. We're not trying to do anything special, just a bunch of guys jaw-jacking. If we happen to get it done fast, we get it done fast. But the directives part that we had in our last one was actually very interesting. We actually said this would be pretty cool if we could have certain directives. Maybe kind of like Countdown, where we could have extra close and personal damage. Maybe other types of damages like that. Taking away from players type damages or bonuses and stuff like that. That would be pretty cool. And here it is. It's popped up. So, hey, that's pretty neat. Added an option to show selected missions directives on the mega map. So that's another thing. We've never been able to see that. But again, good changes so far. Let's go on to the next. Now this right here, being able to skip cutscenes or epilepsy warnings and things of that nature. That is a big one because that actually plagued this last manhunt mission. But if that be the case, does that also mean I'll be able to do the same with Keener, like when I'm trying to get a character through Woney? Because if that's cool, that also means that certain people can actually get past certain missions and set new time records and things like that nature on some missions. You know, different types of stuff. That might be pretty neat because you have to wait for the cutscene to go by and you can just instantly skip it and set a new record. This could also probably affect raids where you can actually get a few extra seconds off of a raid at the end or something of that nature. God willing, God knows, no one really knows. Hey!
Rogue agent, neutralize. Goodbye.
Why are you running?
Whack. Rogue agent, neutralize.
Sorry, I had to put that clip in there because that was Peaches got creamed. Anyways, that's the most racist guy in this game. Anyway, let's go on back to this PvP quality of changes and game changes and stuff like that. Now, again, this video is going to be pretty long, so I'm just going to let y'all read the rest of this because some of this looks pretty neat. Not totally understanding what it all means, but primary and secondary weapons slot, which appears to players, customs available for weapons in the store. Most of this, I'm assuming, because it keeps talking about a store, we'll see what they're talking about later on. But again, this looks to be some really good changes. But here, I'll just pause it and let y'all guys read it. And now we come up to the last bit, which is the known issues and the things that they're planning on working on. So this is where it all becomes like stuff that we already know needs to be fixed and they're going to be fixing. So this one here, I'm just going to let y'all read this one for yourselves because some of this stuff is already up on the Trello board. Some of these things aren't. They know about them. They're planning on fixing them. And we'll see how that happens later on as the game progresses. Now, with y'all seeing all that stuff right there, leave a comment below. Tell me what you're excited about. Let me know if there's things that you would like to see changed. Again, not everybody has a whole lot of pull with the developers. Some of us do get a few comments in ever so often. We would like to see some changes, and while we do see some problems with certain things, we try to fix them as much as possible. Again, the one thing I was ecstatic to see was the fact that even we had a fun time with the raid with directives on. It was still fun. Even though it was a pain, it was still fun. And that's one thing I was actually kind of excited to see, you know, because that's going to make for the gameplay of raids and things like that even better. For the PvP community, I'm glad that they finally decided to fix the fact that Conflict needed to be able to get some levels and some caches and things of that nature. There's good bonuses coming for everybody all around that I'm seeing. As for the Descent part, again, that's going to be played by ear. But, I mean, either way, it looks to be good and wholesome and fun. But that's always how every single TU comes out. Is it always looks like it's going to be fun, and then something along the lines messes up, and we get some glitches, some bugs, all kinds of weird stuff. So we'll see how that pans out, ladies and gentlemen. Again, as the days go by, as the PTS goes. So anyways, y'all have a good one. I'll catch y'all later in the next one. And don't forget, like and subscribe.